Happy full moon in Libra. I'm excited to be here for you guys, with you guys. Ooh, it's been a lot. Obviously, now I am homeschooling. I have three boys. So last week was spring break. So we had a break as far as work was concerned. This week it is back to school, back to work. So if you are doing that work, I am in it with you. Um, If you are on the front lines of COVID, I love you. I see you. We thank you. Front lines, anyone in healthcare, anyone who is an essential worker, keeping us fed and keeping us sustained. We appreciate you so much. I know just from the past few days, one, the energy has been extremely intense. It usually is anytime there's a full moon, emotions bubble to the surface. But because this full moon is in Libra, the flare ups and the dust ups are coming up around our relationships. In particular, I feel like it's our familial relationships are coming to a head in that where people might have been trying to fake the funk or pretend like everything's okay. All of that is having to be addressed right now. One, because when you are in close proximity with somebody for extended periods of time, you can no longer pretend, right? Like things get real really quickly, whether that's your romantic partnerships, roommate situations, friendships. But outside of that, it seems like people don't have a sense of control right now. So they're reaching for the people who used to give them that sense of control and power, whether that's parents coming back into our lives or trying to make bids for connection, but those bids for connection ultimately fail because they aren't based on any real emotional intimacy. They're just based on a sense of control and power. So let's get into our message. I'll start by saying that the first portion of this message will be freely available. The second portion will be available exclusively on the Overflow on Demand. I'll also say that our life class, our new life class, Align, Balances, and Calm, that we did with our guest healer, Lara, from Rose Star Energy Alignment, is also available. The people who pre-registered and that early bird did get the bonus of getting distance Reiki sent to them from our guest healer. But if you purchase now, you will be getting the life class by itself. So it is available and it is on sale. So scoop that, cop that. And those are all of our announcements. Let's just get into this message. We got the little staff. We got the Wheel of Fortune. We got the Eight of Coins, the Six of Blades, and the Four of Blades. Bottom of the deck. Ooh, bottom of the deck. Come on, ancestors. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Swords, and that is who wants to speak to us today. Our ancestors are coming through to us, asking us to address the wounds, the generational wounds. How do you bring justice, right? It's what Libra represents in the traditional tarot, and balance and healing to years and years and years of emotional suffering, potentially emotional instability that has its roots here, this little staff energy. This feels like anger. It feels like not feeling seen, not being able to express your emotions, not being able to be heard, not being able to be witnessed, and stunted growth is what this feels like. So we're hurting right now because We cover up a lot of our hurt with things. We put a lot of stock in or measure of worth and value based on what we can buy, what can be provided for us, but that's no replacement for emotional connection and intimacy. So it feels like a lot of the hurt we thought on the surface may have been that we weren't necessarily provided for or taken care of, like maybe we didn't have the nicest of things. But was it really that? Or was it really that we didn't have emotional connection? So let's get more about the root of the wounding that this full moon is asking us to witness. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Air. We got Yemoja. We got the Three of Fire. And we got the Earth. Ooh. Help me, Jesus. So this masculine energy within us and external masculine energy, the men in our life, the men in our family, the lack of protection, the lack of provision that a lot of us experience, the women in our life, particularly our mothers, wounded by this masculine energy, harmed by this masculine energy, that never fully developed, has caused generations of suffering. And so right now, this Libra energy is asking us to look at those who caused us suffering, caused us pain, hold firm boundaries, have compassion, have grace, but honor the fact that this is the best that they can do right now. They can't meet us where we needed them to, because this little staff, or in the traditional tarot, I think this might be the Page of Wands, I'm not sure, but intuitively the energy is just emotional stunting of masculine energy. And why is it stunted? Why was it not able to fully flourish into the King of Staffs, for instance, or to Papa Staff, Mama Staff, this fiery, passionate, being fully healed in the sacral chakra, the root chakra, feeling secure, feeling creative? It's because of the mother wound. Being separated from a mother at a very young age, feeling separation, separation consciousness generally, this idea that we were ever separated from God has taken root. It's a spiritual separation, and it's an illusion, but it gets translated into the physical relationships, the parental relationships, because that is how we come into the world. We come into the world through the mother and father. And so the attack, let's say, or the spiritual attack, came through this masculine energy. And this is the wound that is asking to be witnessed at this time, but also the cause and the cure are found in the same place. So number one, this is Mother God coming through actually as a really grounding energy from the earth. Letting us know that She is here, that we are protected, that we are seen, we are her children, our worth and our value, our hearts, when purified, connect us back. We're not disconnected, so I don't want to say that, but the feeling of separation, the heartache is healed. The heart chakra itself is healed when we do the work to purify our hearts. And I don't necessarily mean forced forgiveness, but the Wheel of Fortune is here asking us to turn the page or turn the chapter in some way. How can we be better mothers? How can we take care of ourselves and fill ourselves and fill our cups with the love that we did not receive, and stop looking towards that person to give us the love? Because we have to get to a point where we're honoring the fact that the harm is just a reflection of the harm that they experienced. And will acknowledging that alone be enough for us to be able to get this Wheel of Fortune energy, just to bear witness to it, just to come back into our own body, meet our own needs? I want to come back. It was just already so long, but I want to come back to this masculine energy that is not fully developed within us, and how do we mother it? And I feel like it's by telling ourselves that what we can produce, productivity is not our value. And that's across the board for all genders, because we put that onus and that burden on masculine energy, which then limits the connection, emotional connection that we have with each other. This masculine energy doesn't get to share its heart, doesn't get to share its dreams, doesn't get to share its desires because of all of the pressure to just produce. And then this masculine energy is also told that all they're good for is what they can produce. When feminine energy in and of itself knows how to create, knows how to reproduce, the lands grow unattended to. We talked about this in the spring equinox video. So the part of us that doesn't feel worthy enough actually isn't our feminine energy. It's wounds from the masculine being projected towards us, especially those of us who occupy feminine energy, who struggle with worth and value, who struggle with confidence about what they can have to even offer the world, who are ashamed to put ourselves forward and put our gifts out there and serve. It is because this masculine energy is still needing to be mothered. I think that's it. 8 again. This I know why the cage bird sings energy. So much is coming through right now, especially for those of us who are in the diaspora. Mass incarceration is coming through now. Is having this rippling effect, and really was what predated mass incarceration, slavery of itself. So this masculine energy has really suffered, and look at the masculine energy here, embracing the feminine, changing. That is what's shifting right now with this earth energy. This new earth energy is an embrace of the feminine, embrace of the creative, embrace of the care and the luxury. And that is what Libra really is. It is this gender, not necessarily even fluid, it is a balance. It is the integration. It is the honoring of and the being unashamed of the feminine. So, as a society, I had to change. Well, I'm sorry, Spirit. I could not talk about masculine. I couldn't talk about the depths of what's the suffering right now. But the masculine energy in the spirit. So we're talking in esoteric terms. Masculine energy in and of itself is trapped, and as above, so below. Right. So we see mass incarceration. We see the feeling of being unable to express itself without something is changing in the spirit right now for the masculine energy. What does that look like for us? It is our ability to express. It is our ability to speak our mind. It is our ability to defend ourselves, to not be abused in relationships of all kinds, familial relationships. We will not be silent. We cannot be silent. Bottom of the deck is Elewa, Papa Legba. We have the Ten of Earth. We have Shango, which is this Libra energy, this justice energy, and the Five of Water. Blessings, rewards, reparations, spiritually. But this full moon brings us shifts. It brings us change, I do feel, on a cultural level. But it does require us to speak out against injustice, against wrongdoing, on a personal level and at a societal level. This is about the redistribution of resources for people that are just hanging on, barely making it, going, check to check, really just holding on to this flimsy branch when there is a root, there is a tree, there is enough, there's surplus, there's excess. So something about this energy now changes, requires change. So where resources are being redistributed, ask for them. You deserve them. This is about getting your due, getting what you deserve. What you've always deserved, whether or not you felt like you did because of programming, right? Of our masculine energy being harmed and being told that we're not producing enough, we're not doing enough, we should be doing more for others, the masters, right? And we've tried so long to cover up this feeling of not enoughness with things that oftentimes put us further into the indebtedness of those who had all of the resources and all of the power and all of the control. But our ancestors are letting us know with this Eight of Coins that this is who we've always been. We've always been worthy. In this deck, the Eight of Coins talks about lineage. It talks about whose family you belong to, and this full moon energy of Libra, of justice, of karmic contracts, of making things right. It's like a reminder and so we're getting to know ourselves again, even in the face of this Six of Blades, this suffering, this chaos that's all around us, because we are maybe forcing to ourselves to, we're being forced rather to be still. We're having to look at ourselves, that Two of Air energy that we started with. Look at ourselves, see ourselves, remember who we are, learn who we are, learn our gifts, remember our ancestral gifts, things that have been passed down to us, being forced to stand in those gifts, many of us, especially those of us who have to serve. And in the process of all of this, we're overcoming this wound. We are growing ourselves up. We are being accountable for where we've fallen short. We are having to be honest with ourselves about what we haven't done and who we want to be from here on out. But it won't be based on something arbitrary, something that society measures. It'll be based on if we're living into our purpose. So let's get more. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Fire. This is still talking about healing the heart chakra. We got the Five of Fire, the message from Fire, and Ogun, which is this warrior energy, but this has really been coming through as the either paternal ancestors or the masculine energies in our ancestral lines. And this is the spiritual warfare that's happening right now. Message from Fire and the Five of Air. So needing to connect to these ancestors, pray for their healing. It doesn't even feel like forgiveness necessarily. Let's get more. Yeah. So we got Aku and we got the Seven of Air, which is this abandonment energy that I talked about in the beginning, that we talked about in the full moon in Virgo. Leaving the family. Some of our ancestors were forced to leave the family to fight wars. And not just spiritual, physical wars. This is something that has always been put on the masculine to be violent, to be protectors, but something happens to their spirit when they have to be perpetrators of this violence. It doesn't come without a price. Dwarves and gnomes. An ace of fire right now at the bottom of the deck. The role of the masculine was never and should really have never been corrupted to violence. It was about the earth, protection of the earth, tending to the land, yes, using even physical body and physical might. Like, hunting, literally, but not killing, not death. And that's the corruption of the spirit. And what happens, and what happened, because apparently this is a lesson. I was wondering, like, well, what do we need to do? And I'm sure we'll get there, but Spirit is taking us a long way home. We have this Six of Blades. Is the feminine energy gets left with the damage. And this is literally the history of the world, y'all. I mean, this goes back as whatever, but this is about the original wounding of the masculine and how it replays and passes down, how it gets corrupted and manipulated, and patriarchy robs the masculine of experiencing the pure love and joy, power, abundance of the feminine by separating it and having it fight false enemies, takes it from the land, takes it from caring for and preserving the home, the lands. So what is our strategy moving forward? We're all doing an about face right now. We're thinking about a new way to live, a new way to experience love, a new way to experience life. And we're kind of at a choice point now as a society where we really do need to choose a better way. The ancestors are begging us to choose a different way and to not repeat the same mistakes. We have Oba here with her face covered and shielded. We have the Three of Swords here at the bottom of the deck right now, but we have Oba, we have the Eight of Earth, and we have these children over here, this family over here, the Ten of Cups, because all of the consumption of and the forced productivity and the forced effort, we're separated from each other. We don't know how to love each other, and our children aren't getting the love and the attention that they need. because of the need to be productive. Everybody is hurting, everybody is suffering. And that doesn't mean you can't experience wealth. That doesn't mean that you can't experience abundance. But how can we deconstruct this system that is tearing family apart? And family doesn't have to look one way. That is why there were villages. That is why and I think that's the answer. That is the answer, Spirit. Thank you. Is we need each other. We need relationships. It's not just about individualism. It's not just about what we can do on our own. It's about what we can do together. Tell me more, Spirit, about this Oba energy. Because for me, what is coming through is then we now have women, particularly, who are bearing this burden of doing it all. This is what we're trying to break free from right now. The entire economic system undergoing strain, collapse. We have massive debt. Before all of this happened, we're seeing a push to get some of that waived. We'll have to do a completely different video on the economic system and overflow on demand. Because I got downloads about that as well. But healing this masculine wound is something we can all do. It's not just about gender. The guidance we are getting is the message from water, the 9 of earth, and the 9 of fire. Ooh, didn't see that. Underneath that was the 4 of earth. This is the foundation for a healthier world, a healthier life on a personal level, a healthier dynamic with each other, where we're working together, not fighting each other. So in between this would be 5 of swords, which would be either lack of boundaries, crossing boundaries, conflict, which leaves someone like this to pick up the pieces, versus this 4 of blades energy, where there's more peace. So we're trying to manifest and create and reconstruct more peace in our bloodline, in our personal families, because that's where this all starts. It's our ancestors, our personal ancestors, asking us to heal this within our own family dynamic where possible, creating a new foundation. So what does that look like? Leaning into the feminine for balance. That doesn't mean not working, but it looks like incorporating more rest, more prayer, more sacred personal time, reclaiming our time with spirit. What came through was letting the feminine reign. So yes, you have this balance of masculine and feminine energy, but you still are giving deference to the feminine ways of being, which is creativity, rest, honoring the mother in the home, that feminine energy, lifting up that aspect. Giving the mother the tools that she needs to work outside of the home, develop new skills. And for me, it's almost like this is where the masculine needs to strengthen. This is where the feminine can strengthen, is having financial independence and security for herself, where the masculine energy now needs to get his own source of spirituality, his own connection to spirit, his own routine for prayer, his own, he needs to be connected to God. And even if you are, and this really isn't about gender, this is about the role that you play, because even in same gender partnerships, we're still playing out a lot of the same gender roles. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day, and the dysfunctional patterns still play out. Patriarchy still plays out in same gender relationships. And so this is the balance. The masculine energy connecting to spirit in their own way, having their own rituals, their own practices, and the feminine being able to have the freedom to cultivate a life of their own. What about the children's spirit? Because we're in single parent households, for instance, which I am a product of one, when a woman is working, paying all the bills, trying to fashion some type of romantic life, a lot of that it's I have not seen a good balance personally. I have seen women devote their entire life to their children, to the sacrifice of their outside life, and I've seen where a woman has been super successful in their career, but struggles in their relationship, and then their children also don't get the attention that they need. So this is hard, and this is all of a result of a wounding, right, of this energy. So how can we, to be honest, it feels like even for those of you who are single parents, you care for the children by having a life of your own, figuring out how you can have a village to help you so that you can cultivate a life outside of caring for them, even if that means just your physical. Yes, you have to provide for their physical needs by going to work, but how do you get your needs met? Your needs, your spiritual needs, your emotional needs, because they cannot meet them and you cannot be empty. And so it's that village energy of needing to help you when you need help, tapping into and going back to those ways of having community support. But I still want to get more about the children. Ace of Cups or Ace of Water. Bottom of the deck right now is the Six of Fire, which is victory, which this full moon energy is here. This is the pathway. This is the way. But the children are here to open doors for us. We are those of us who have children or have the ability to raise children and be an influence to children that are in another generation. We have the opportunity to love them in a way where this will not affect them at all. Everything that has happened up until now, they will not be impacted by. That is our opportunity. This is Papa Legba, who's on the bottom of the deck earlier. Elewa, the Orisha of open doors, clear communication, effective communication, speaking to them with kindness, apologizing when we do them wrong, taking responsibility and accountability for us having to provide for them. Oshumara, which is physical resources, but it's also love, it's forgiveness, it's abundance. And it's like this love and this tenderness and this care and this compassion, particularly through the way that we speak to them, removes limitations for what they will achieve, because they will know who they are. They will know. that is our message. I am still going to do the pick a card, and I will be using 2 different decks. For the pick a card, I'll be using the Work Your Light Oracle, and I'll be using the Enchanted Map Oracle, and I'll be doing 3 sections. So you can go ahead and pick 1, 2, or 3, and I will get into that. So I hope you'll join me on Overflow on Demand. You can subscribe. It's $19.99 a month. You get access to all 12 signs and moon messages and other bonus content. But if you just want to purchase this moon message alone, it will be available in the a la carte section, okay? I love you so much.